that he understands that my virginity is important to me, and there is a way we can have it without me losing my virginity. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Victoria Ayodele Fash. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. If you're a returning subscriber, you know I love you. You know I appreciate you so much. Thank you for always coming back. Okay, so welcome guys. It has been a while since I shot a video. I just wanted to reach out to say thank you for as many people who reached out. I think about 2 or 3 people reached out to me to say, hey, it's been a while. Yes, I actually took up some fresh responsibilities this month that has really made my schedule very crazy, but I'm really excited to be back here again. Okay, so how have you guys been? Have you guys missed me? Let me know in the comment section below. Okay, so how do we do a welcome back to filming? I decided to tell a story. Okay, I've wanted to tell the story for a while, but you guys already know, before I do a story time, I always try to, you know, like ask, is it really relevant? Like what are people going to gain from me telling the story? And you know, I thought about it long enough, and it's been pressing in my heart to tell the story, and I don't know why. I don't know who this is for, but quite recently I've had a number of people reaching out to me on my DMs to ask for advice, especially Christians who want to be celibate, right? And it's like all the guys that are coming to you, you know, they're just requesting for one thing, which is sex, right? And you know, I can totally relate to that, especially when you truly love this person. So there was one who reached out to me recently, and you know, it's just really heartbreaking. You know, when you truly love this person, you see yourself building a family with this person, and this person is saying that is on you give me it's we either have sex or it's over, right? So I can understand how difficult it can be, and that's why I wanted to tell this particular story about when I was this close to losing my virginity to a guy that I was truly in love with. This was actually the first guy I'd ever loved in my entire life. Like the first guy, not the only guy, the first guy I ever loved. And as you can probably tell, I was quite young then. I didn't know a lot about dating. I've only had maybe 1 or 2 boyfriends, and it was just playful boyfriends, right? This was the first boyfriend I've had that, you know, I was so in love with. Like I was madly, you know, someone is madly in love with. I was madly in love with him. But let me tell you how it all started, okay? All right, so you guys probably already know I grew up in the barracks, and I think, and I hope you guys won't judge my upbringing by this story, okay? You guys already know that majority of my childhood, especially my teenage years, I was raised by a single mom who was working, you know, a lot, and she was very strict on us when it comes to discipline, right? My mom if she catches you with a guy, she does not want to hear the explanation. You are in trouble, okay? Yeah, so I remember I was just feeling lost as a teenager. I had gotten to that age. If you watched my story time, the last story time I told, when I talked about, you know, body shaming and, you know, some of the issues I went through growing up as a very slim person that didn't have boobs or breasts or, sorry, boobs or backside or anything, right? If you have not watched that video, please go and watch it. I'll link it up here or somewhere. Anyway, so yes, I was going through that phase in my life where I was not, I didn't have a good self-image. I didn't think I was beautiful enough. I didn't think I was pretty enough. I didn't think I was just fat, right? And there were other things that were happening, you know, when it comes to my family, you know, not having a father figure around. Just a lot of things that was happening. And then, you know, living in the barracks where it's like everybody has eyes on you, you understand? So I remember, so living in the barracks, okay, so let me just paint a picture if you don't know how the barracks setting is, okay? So it's like a 3-story building. So it's 3-story building facing each other. So 3-story building, you have 3-story building here, and they are facing each other, right? And for each building, there are 36 rooms, 36 houses, right? Like 36 apartments, basically, okay? I was in flat 10, okay? And then in the other building, there's also 36 apartments. So we are like 36 plus 36. Please do that math. You guys already know I don't know maths. It's like 72 apartment, right? And then you have soldiers, you have, you know, new soldiers, those new recruits, and then you have other soldiers. So we are a lot, okay? So I grew up in a very close-knitted environment, okay? So, you know, I grew up in an environment where children, when they take the light, if you don't know what take the light means, it means we have blackout, okay? So we have that periodically. So we actually have one now. I'm using generator. So we have times when we'll have blackouts, and then all the children in the whole 72, well, not you know, there are bachelors also in some of the building, but majority of the houses have, you know, wives and children. So we'll all come out, and then we'll bring our mother's wrapper or we'll bring mats and spread it outside close to the, so we have like a tap, a communal area where we fetch water, right? It's cemented, right? So would spread our mom's wrapper or spread a mat, and, you know, just will play, you know, the Cinderella dressed in yellow, went upstairs to kiss a fellow, or, you know, all those games, right? I really loved my childhood, okay? And that's one of the benefits of living in a barracks, right? You have a lot of children. You will have your age group, no matter how old you are. Your age group you will always have that, right? So, and then it wasn't really as dangerous as it is now. So parents are allowed to leave their children to go and play. So would come out to play. So that is the kind of environment I lived in. So everybody had eyes on everybody. So I remember I was about to write my junior WAEC. So we're going for one lesson. We're in a long holiday. And prior to that, so I have a friend at the other block, okay? We just met recently. She came to my house during the Christmas break. I mean, if you guys watched it, you guys would have seen her. I hadn't seen her in like, I think 12 years before then. So we grew up together. She was my closest friend when I was growing up. So she had elder brothers. She was the last born of her family. She had 2 elder brothers. I think then her elder brothers were like 21, 20, whatever. So they were quite older than me, okay? I think I was around 15, 16. No, was that 15, 16K? Yeah, around that age anyways. I can't remember the exact age. So there was this guy has friends. It's like, you know when they say good girls are attracted to bad boys. I was brought up a good girl. Like, I didn't have any other choice than to be a good girl. My mom, when you think about my mother, you will be a good girl by default, okay? So my mom, we were brought up very, very strict. Like, there's no excuse when you don't do what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to do. There's no justification. Like, you get beaten, like beaten. So anyways, I was a teenager. I was, like I said, I was in that phase where I didn't feel like I would have any boyfriend, because again, this was the stage where majority of my friends were having boyfriends. I remember Joy had Kobo then, and Tosin had Akim. Like, there was just a lot that was going around. All my friends had someone. I didn't have anyone because guys were not just approaching me. Now, at the opposite side, this is my friend, she lived at the opposite side, like the second floor, and then our elder brother had this friend. Now, see, when you're talking about, you know, bad boy, you know, then we were always attracted to bad boys, okay? He had this friend, his name was Kevin, right? I didn't know his name, but I had seen him around. He used to come around the back to this guy's house every now and then. And, you know, there are these guys, he smokes, he sags his trouser, he drinks, but, you know, it's fine. He was fair, he had tattoos, he had pink lips, he was fine then. At least it was, trust me, there were a lot of girls in my block that were dying for this guy. But being a person who was struggling with my self-image, that I didn't think I was beautiful enough, I could never have thought in 1,000 years that the guy would ever be attracted to me, because if guys my age are not even asking me out, right, then why would somebody like that? But I liked him from afar, you know. Every time I saw him, I lusted after him, okay? So it went on and on. I think he was coming around for like a month or 2 months, right? And sometimes he would come with some girls will come around, you know, they are adults, okay? They were 21 years old, right? And, you know, yeah, they will live their life, they will have fun, they will do parties, they'll come, you know. So he will come around, and I would always see him. Every time I see him, like, hey God, it's like my heart wanted to melt. Every time I see him, I always feel like this strong attraction towards him. I had never felt that way before, you know, especially I've never dated anyone, okay? So having this kind of strong feeling towards a person is strange to me, right? That was the first experience I had, seeing a person and my body is doing me things, and I'm feeling, you know, I'm feeling sensual, right? I've never felt that before for anyone, but every time I set my eyes on this guy, I always felt that it was like a demon possessing me. But again, he was not in my league. Like, even the girls he was coming around with, there were girls in there, they were 18, like all those bad barrack girls, you understand? So he was not in my league. But that, I mean, the heart wants what the heart wants, okay? I could not control my attraction or my strong feelings towards him, and it went on and on for like that for like a month. Until one particular day, we were on long holidays. I was going for a lesson to prepare for my junior YX to be able to move to high school. Okay, so yes, I was quite young, telling you this story. I was coming, and I'm picturing that event in my head, but obviously you guys can't. So I was coming from class. I entered into my block, and I was walking down into my flat. And then when I got to, so his flat, the flat he was right in the opposite, although it was upstairs, mine would live at the ground floor, but you can see me, right? So I was walking, and then I heard someone say hello. I looked around, I didn't see anybody, and it's strange because I mean nobody calls me, right? And it was like, hey, hello. And I looked up, and it was my crush. My heart was beating. I was like, wait, is he calling me? Like, I didn't even want to believe that he was calling me. So I kept walking. Like, I looked at him, but I didn't want to believe that he was calling. So I kept walking and say hello. And again, this guy had an American accent, okay? I don't know, I think he lived abroad for a while, so he has an American accent. He wears earrings, he had tattoos, he was fair, he sags his trousers, he's, you know, yeah. Anyway, so I was really attracted to this guy. So when he called me again, I was like, me? He said yes. He said, can I come upstairs, like come to the opposite block where he is? So I said, okay, so let me drop my bag and then I'll come. So I remember I dropped my bag, and then I remember when I go inside, I'm like, did Kevin just call me? His name is Kelvin. I didn't know that then. Did he just call me? Like, did he just call me? I was so excited. My mom wasn't around. My mom had gone to work. So, okay. And my nosy neighbor was not outside, surprisingly, on that day. So, so I came out, and then, you know, I walked to the next block. So the staircase is is protected. You can't really see what's happening in the staircase. You have to like come out of the staircase for people to be able to see you. So I came out, so he met me just at the entrance of the second floor near the staircase. So he met me there, and I was like, hi, good afternoon. He was like, good afternoon, with his American accent. Hey, I wanted to die. I was like, oh God. Sorry guys, my head, I'm having headache. Anyway, so I was like, okay, it's God that created this one. The guy is fine. Like, the guy was fine, and I cannot believe that this guy was actually calling me. So I said hi. He said hello, how are you doing? I said I'm fine, and he asked me my name. I told him my name. He asked me if I can't remember everything we spoke. It's been a long time. So he asked me about my name. I told him. He asked me a random question. Then he introduced himself with his American accent. His name is Kelvin. He's 21 years old. He's this, is that, is whatever. And he was like, he's been seeing me around, and he actually likes me. That would I mind him having my number? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It wasn't even a thought in my head. Like, immediately he asked, you know, I just gave him the number. And then I gave him the number, and then he said, okay, he was going to call me. So I remember that evening, I was looking at my phone every minute, because he called me. Like, I gave my number, and then he flashed me, so I could save his number. So I was looking at my phone every day to see if I would get a call from him. And I think in the evening, he sent me a text message to say that he was so happy that I gave him my contact. That it's been a while, he's been like admiring me from afar, and he would really like a friend like me. So I think after then, he would call me randomly, we'll speak on phone. He would come around, but because, you know, if they catch me, so, you know, we never got to talk after then, but we'll talk on phone with, you know, text and chat and stuff like that. And I think it was about a week later, he called me and said he was upstairs in my own block now. So they had, like I said, they are bachelors and they're married people, okay? So at the very end, the 35th room of my block were bachelors, okay? They were like young guys, like these crazy soldiers that, you understand, if you know soldiers in Nigeria, you'd know, especially the new recruited ones, like they are wild people, okay? So apparently those people are also his friends. So I guess that's where they take their girls when they come in to you know, have fun with them. I didn't know, I didn't care. As far as I'm concerned, my crush said he likes me and he has been admiring me as long as I have been admiring him. So I remember that day he called me, said I should meet him upstairs. So I came back from school, I dropped my bag, I went upstairs and I met him, and surprisingly nobody was upstairs again, which is weird because you always almost find somebody upstairs. So so he called me and he was like, ah gosh, I remember this day so vividly in my head. And I remember I think I was wearing a white dress with my favorite skirt, like I literally changed just to go and see him. So there's this skirt that usually bring out the little small hips that I thought I had then. So I remember I went upstairs and then he came, he was like, how you doing, how's your day, with his American accent. And he was like, there's been something he wanted to tell me. He's been wanting to tell me, he really admires me. He thinks I'm beautiful. Now, remember, this is coming from a person who I was struggling with my self-image. Nobody has ever told me that I was beautiful, okay? So it was really nice having someone that I loved, someone that I put so much regard or placed so much regard on, to tell me those things. You can imagine the things that were going through, that was going through my mind or my head or my ovaries at that moment. So it was like, he thinks I'm beautiful, I'm the most beautiful girl he has ever set his eyes on. He loves the way I carry myself, he loves the way I'm, this and that and all of that and that and that, and all this while my head was just turning on its own. Like my head was just turning on its own. Turning on its own. That's what I bet, if you are not Nigerian. Anyway, so eventually he told me, and I remember his exact word. I can't remember the exact word, but I know what I remember. This particular part of what he said. It was like, let me try to mimic. It's like, I don't know what I'm thinking. I can sleep. I can eat. I can do what your thoughts are just, I'm not. Of course, I'm not being as coherent as he was, but it was more or less saying that, your thoughts are just in my head, and I just feel like I'm in love with you. At that moment, right, when I just heard I'm in love with you, every other thing he said after then I cannot even relate, because when you're in a Nollywood movie and the actor says something and there's this suspense and there's this, they will zoom into this person's face and it's like time just paused for that moment. That was the feeling I was having. Like I had never had that feeling before. It was like time just stopped moving. I was like, did he just say he's in love with me? Like it, and he didn't say he loved me. He said he's in love. Hey, then that used to be like the hey. Anyway, so he said that, and I was mesmerized. Hey, and it was like, that's truly how he felt about me, and he would really like me to be his girlfriend. Hey, oh my days, I was so lost, right? And I was so lost at that moment. And of course, I said yes immediately. And it was like, yeah, so he hugged me and all was good. And then we'll talk. He would tell me he loves me. I'll tell him I love him back. We'll talk on phone. And I think 2 days later, he came around and then he went to the room. This time, we're not in that room. We're actually just by the staircase, the secured place, the place where nobody can see us. That was where we had the first conversation. So this time around, it was in that house I was telling you about, where, these wild soldiers go to. I've never been there, but I've heard stories about that house. Okay, so he called me and he said I should come over there. First of all, I was scared because my mom always warned me. It was so bad that if anybody sends me message from that house, my mother would say I shouldn't go. And this is a person that, is very big on respecting people, but that house is a no-go area for any child, okay? Anyway, so he said I should come, and this is the guy I've been in love with. Like, you can't tell me nada. So I went, and I remember, I went to the apartment, and again, guys, I was in lost. Okay, it wasn't love, it was lost, and it was severe lost. It was lost that when I see him, like my body starts to do things that my body has never done before, you understand? So I remember that was the first day I ever had a French kiss in my life. So, it just, everything was just like a blur. Like he started kissing me, was touching me. It was, yeah, but nothing invasive, okay? It was just all over me. And I was enjoying it. Yes, I was a teenager and I enjoyed my body was like doing things I've never thought my body could ever do. I was really enjoying, the physical contact. And, he would kiss, he would do stuff, and yeah, all was good. Until he, oh God, this is so hard to tell. I mean, this part of the story is so gory to tell. But I remember that was just the second day we've been dating, and you know, that was the first time in my life I'd ever seen a man. Okay, I'd ever seen a man. And he wanted to like it's just normal. Like, he just asked me out 2 days ago, and I'm supposed to start sleeping with you. Like, everything was just happening like a blur. But again, I wasn't lost, and I was trying to be a big girl because this guy is a big guy. He smokes, he drinks. I knew he was a bad guy, so there was no way this guy is going to ask me out. That, you know, something like this is not to be expected. And I had friends who were already doing it. Like, I had friends who were aborting pregnancies for their boyfriend. They were my very close friends, okay, even though I'd, you know, not had sex before. So of course I was not naive of what was happening, and in as much I was trying to play, you know, I stopped him and I told him that, you know, I've never had sex before, and I didn't want to, like, you know, it's not something that I want to do now. And he was like, okay, no big deal. So, you know, he dressed up, I dressed up, and, you know, I left. And then he didn't call me the following day. He didn't call me 2 days later. And me, that I've already been in love with this person for a long time, and then he eventually asked me out, and I'm over the moon and stuff, and all of a sudden he didn't call me for 2 days. Like, what's happening? I remember I was so heartbroken. I was scared, I was terrified. Like, I can't lose this guy. I've told my friends about him. In short, I've told my friends that they didn't believe that guy could ever date me. Like, I told my friend, like, I was lying. So I can't lose this guy. You understand that? So 2 days later, you know, he called me, asked me to meet him upstairs again. So I went to that, you know, place, and I met him, and he was like, so I said I haven't heard from him. He said, yeah, that, you know, he was busy, whatever. And then, you know, he started to make out with me again. And, you know, again, I was young, I was naive, and, you know, I hope there are young people watching this, and I hope that you learn from my story. Right, so I was young, I didn't know what was happening. So he made out with me, I made out with him, you know, all was well. And again, he tried to do it the second time, and I told him I can't. And he was like, you know, fuck it, you understand? You know, he has this American slangs that they usually do. Oh, fuck, you know, you can't, you know, he loves me, and the way I can. And then he was like, I remember, you know, no, that day went, you know, I told him I can't. He said no problem. And then, you know, the third encounter we have, all of this is happening within like a month of dating or 2 weeks of dating. You know, I remember the day that everything, you know, started to turn around. This was like, we've been dating for like 2 weeks, even though, you know, some days he'll call, some days he won't call. I didn't know what was happening, but I wasn't lost with this guy. And I remember this particular day, which is the main day all of this happened. I can't remember how long we've been dating, but, you know, he called me upstairs, but this time we're in the inside, we're outside the building. I think the person that owns the house was not around, so the door was locked. You know, he was smelling like someone who has smoked. You know, I could smell those. So I remember I was saying that, I told him that, can you quit smoking? Like, I don't like people who smoke, and it, you know, it makes me choke or whatever. And he told me, oh, he was going to stop, whatever. So I remember this particular day he called me upstairs, and he was like, you know, he truly loves me. He does this, he does that, but he does not think that I love him. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I truly love this guy. And I'm like, I love you. Like, how? Like, I love you. What do you mean I don't love you? You know, I was so shocked that he would say that. He said, yeah, that the way I can prove to him that I love him is by having sex with him. And I remember I felt down, because I was ready to give it to him because of how much I loved him. But I also knew, to be honest, it wasn't really anything moral. It was just that my mom, like, if my my mom, hey God, getting pregnant, I was scared of a lot of things, and my mom was like the main person I was scared of. So it was like, right, that the only way I can prove to him is that I love him is by, you know, having sex with him. And I begged him that, just give me some time, let us get to know each other. You understand, you know, I'm not ready, but I'm sure with time I'm going to be ready. But, you know, can we just date for a while? And this guy got mad. It was like, no, you know, fuck you, how could you do this? You know, I love you, you're breaking my heart, you're the girl I want to marry, you are this, you're that, and all this thing. You know, I was feeling bad for him, because for some reason I felt so bad for him that I'm depriving him of his oxygen. Like, if he doesn't have sex with me, he's going to die. Because that was the image he was proving to me. Like, you know, how can I say I love him, and this one thing is asking me, I cannot give it to him? Now remember, I was a teenager who was struggling with her self-image, who felt unloved, and finally I had one person who I loved, who was, you know, reciprocating that feeling to me for the very first time. And yeah, anyway, so I felt really lost at that moment. I didn't know what to do. I don't want to lose him. I don't want to lose my virginity. What do? I was at crossroad. And I begged him and I told him that I don't want to lose my virginity yet. I'm still young, right? And I can't. Like, if I get pregnant, my mom is going to kill me. And so I was like, oh no, that he's an adult, he knows how to do it without getting me pregnant. I said yes, I don't doubt that, but I was not ready, that he should please, like, can he not just, we can make out, we can do other things, but can we just hold off on having sex before, at least for now. And he was like, no, I'm breaking his heart, he loves me, but I am making him to sleep with other girls. Of course, I knew he was a bad boy. He had other girls he was hanging around. That I was the reason why he's sleeping with other girls, and he does not want to sleep with other girls. He just wants to sleep with me alone and stuff like that and all of that. And I told him that I can't. I was pleading with him, should please. I was in tears, I was crying, and that was when he told me that that he understands that my virginity is important to me, and there is a way we can have it without me losing my virginity. I mean, I was young, I was naive, but I was not that stupid. I remember, I'm like, how can we have sex without me losing my virginity? Like, what are you saying? How can we do it without me losing it? Like, I don't understand. How is that going to be possible? It was like, no, that I should trust him. That and then I remember he sat me down, and this is a normal tactics of a manipulator. That is how you know a manipulator. He sat me down. He was like, I should look into his eyes. I looked into his eyes. I was in tears because he was threatening to leave me. So I looked into his eyes, and he was like, see, that do I trust him? I said yes. He said, I need you to trust me 100%. I said yes, I trust you. He said, okay, we're gonna do it, and I will not touch your virginity, okay? And I'm like, how are we gonna have sex? He said, don't ask questions, just trust me. Do you trust me? I said yes, I trust you. Do you trust me 100%? I said yes. I told you I'm not gonna take your virginity. I said okay, no problem. He said okay, so just do what I say. I said okay. So he asked me to a lot of things. I don't need to bore you with the details. So and this guy was going to do the do through the back. You understand? He was going to have us have anal. I didn't know that then. I didn't even know that people used to do that, like used to have sex through the other side. It was so bizarre. And just as everything was about to happen, my mother's voice just came to my ear. If you get pregnant in this house, just that thought of my mom was in my head. And and I remember it was like everything happened like a blur. I carried my clothes, I ran away. I got home, I was in tears, I was crying so hard. I was heartbroken because I knew that he had told me then that if I don't have sex with him, he was going to leave me. I felt so bad. I got home, I was really crying, like I didn't want to do it. I can't do it. I was scared. There are a lot of things that could happen. I don't know his sexual history. I know that he had numerous girlfriends. What if he has HIV? What if there were a lot of I was not exposed to doing the do yet, but I know that there are dangers. Like, I'm not naive. I know there are dangers to having unprotected sex. I know there are dangers to having, someone who has multiple partners. I know there's danger of pregnancy. I know there's a lot of dangers that could happen, right? And I was a Christian too, and I know in my heart that having sex before marriage is a sin. So, but I was in love. I was madly in love. So this story has gone too long. So I remember I got home, I cried so hard. And then he sent me a message that he was disappointed in me. He really thought I was matured. And you see, that was one thing he always also used to manipulate. And like, oh, I'm matured more than my age. I talk more intelligently and whatever. But at the end of the day, I was still a child, okay? And he was an adult, and he was trying to force me to do something that I did not want to do. But thankfully, I was able to run, and that didn't happen. Thankfully now. But as at then, I didn't feel good. For days I was depressed in the house. It was at that period, I had a fight with my mom where she cut my hair. That's a different long story. It was because of him, because later he asked me to come again to his place, and I went. Like, after that, he invited me like 2 times, and those 2 times this guy tried to force himself on me. The first time it happened, he was drunk, so I thought, okay, maybe he had an influence. The second time I went there, you know, that was the last day I ever went, because this time it was really bad. I had to lie that I wanted to go and pee, you know, and somehow I was able to escape, because if that hadn't happened, he would literally had forced himself on me. And that was because I was naive, I was stupid, I was, you know, I was young, I didn't know as much as I know now. But you know, that experience really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it made me more determined in my heart that a man who cannot wait for me does not deserve me. The guy came back years later, you know, and you know, it went on and on, but I never gave him the audience, right? So yeah. So what did I use all of this story to say? You know, I understand this. I didn't know then that this was just the beginning of several relationships I'll be in, that I'll be forced, or I'll be asked to give up this thing that I did not want to give up, and with the risk of losing the relationship, right? So after him, I've had a lot of relationships. I already talked about, you know, he left me for my hairdresser. Then a number of other relationships that I had at that time, that, you know, every time it was about, let's have sex, let's do this, let's do that. But, and I am so grateful now that I held on to my stand that I am not going to do this. I don't care how many people are doing it, but I am not. Okay, I told you guys, I had friends, my very close friends were aborting pregnancies. My very close friends were having sex. The 3 closest friends to me had aborted pregnancies. Like this is just, I was the only one who was a virgin among them when I was in secondary school. So I had all the reasons to do it. Like everybody around me is doing it, so I could have done it, but I held on to it. And I think that's holding, being able, it took a while for me to get over him. I cried a lot of nights, I was really sad and all of that, but eventually I did. And when I saw him later, I'm like, you know, all the fineness that I thought he had, everything just began to clear from my face, you understand? And I am so grateful, you know, I was so grateful then, looking back, that I never gave him, because then I saw the girls he was moving around with. I think later I heard that, you know, he eventually contracted HIV, right? And I don't even know how long he had it. But imagine if I had given myself to him then, who knows what I would have been facing, you know, you understand? So anyway, so the story, it was a rumor, I don't know if it's true anyways, but there was a time he was really looking very, very, very bad, you understand? Yeah, anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that standing my ground at that very first relationship I had really helped me. And I think it was like, if I could do that for this guy I was madly in love with, there is no guy I could not do that with. Okay, so yes, I had a lot of guys who came and were saying, oh yes, let's have sex first, and I tell them, no, we are not, right? And if you want to leave, you leave, you understand? So yeah, I think that was really pivotal to me deciding to keep myself till I met my husband, right? So yeah, I don't know if this is going to help anybody, but I hope it does, because there are a lot of stories you can learn from this. Like, hold on to your ground. Trust me, the man who is meant for you is going to find you and is going to appreciate you. Okay, do you know how many of those my friends, like I'll pass by some guys and they'll say, oh, that one I've slept with her, oh, that one I've done this, oh, that one I've done that. It was something of pride for me that none of these people can say confidently that they've done anything to me. Okay, and who never can tell the platform that God is going to place you on, right? Look at this platform I am talking about this, talking about that. Imagine if I've lived that kind of life. I will always be scared that someone is going to come out to say they've done something with me. You understand that? So yes, you never can tell the platform that God is going to place you on, or who you would need to help in the future, stuff like that. And you don't want to let few moments of enjoyment or stupidity as a child to ruin you. I had a lot of friends then in the barracks. I ended up, a lot of friends that I had never left the barracks till today. They are married to another rank, and the reason why they got married to them is because they got pregnant for them and there was nothing they could do about it. When I went to the barracks the last time, that was like 5 years ago, I saw so many of my friends who were either married, they are now housewives, they don't have a job, they never went to university, they never did anything for their life, for themselves, because they got pregnant for a soldier or a soldier's child. You understand? So yes, I guess the encouragement I just want to give is that yes, there might be time when it will feel hard. It will definitely feel hard. It felt hard for me letting go of a lot of relationships that I thought could have meant something, but at the end of the day, I'm so grateful now that I didn't end up with those people, because they didn't deserve it, right? So when it comes to the issue of virginity, I know it is tough, especially when you're approaching certain age, right? You are not 15 now, you're not 15, you're 30, you're approaching 30, you're 25, you're 35, and you're still holding on to your virginity, and all the guys that are coming to you are telling you that give it to me, give it to me. I just want to encourage you that it is worth it is worth waiting for. Whoever deserves you, right, is going to wait for you. And I think we'll continue this story in another video because this has gotten too long. But let me know if you guys learned anything from this video. Until we meet again, my name is still Victoria Ayodele Fash, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Leave a like in this video. Please remember to share, to subscribe, share to anybody, a teenager, whoever it is, that this might help. Okay, it really pays to wait for the right person, whether you are a male or a female. Okay, all right, thank you guys so very much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.